friends, welcome all of you to our today's session. Last class we were discussing about certain exemptions. In fact, this section 54 series exemptions were being discussed in our previous session. All of them relating to capital gain. Today we'll continue with few more deductions, few more exemptions from capital gain. And those exemptions helps a lot while we plan for capital gain tax. Let me share the screen with you right now. Last class I had told you we can classify the exemptions relating to capital gains in two categories. One is section 10 series exemption, then some exemptions which comes under section 54, 54B, 54D, EC. There is one 54E also, then 54F, all these sections. Section 10 series we had discussed. Last class we were discussing about this section 54, 54B and 54D. All these three three exemptions are over in previous class. Is it not? We had also spoken about, we talked about capital gain account scheme. This is about section 54, 54B, then 54D, whatsoever. Yeah. So let us start with 54 EC. Okay. Capital gain not chargeable on investment on certain bonds. This particular exemption is allowed to any assessee. Any assessee can avail this exemption if he is having some kind of capital gain. But there are certain conditions which needs to be complied with. First of all, there should be transfer of long-term capital asset, being land or building or both. So if there is a long-term capital asset and there is a capital gain, and the long-term asset is land, building, or both land and building, then only one assessee, any kind of assessee can avail this exemption. And this such asset can also be depreciable asset held for more than 24 months. This is one more criteria. The assessee must be holding that assessee for more than 24 months. The capital gain arising from transport should be invested in long-term specified assets within 6 months. That means this money has to be invested. Money means the capital gain, not the entire receipt. The capital gain needs to be invested on some long-term specific assets within 6 months of the date of transfer. What is this? What are these specific assets? If you look at in the next paragraph, it says specified bonds which are redeemable after 5 years, issued on or after 1/4/2018 by NHAI, that is National Highway Authority of India, or Rural Electrification Corporation of India, RECL, or other bonds notified by central government on this behalf. Here point is that if there is long-term capital gain on account of sale of or account of transfer of land or building or both, which is held by the assessee for more than 24 months, the capital gain can be invested by assessee in this NHAI bond or REC bond or some other bond which are notified by central government within 6 months from the date of transfer. Okay. What money is to be invested? The capital gain needs to be invested. The assessee should not transfer or convert that bond or avail any loan or advances by keeping that bond and security for a period of 5 years from the date of acquisition of that bond. Suppose bond is acquired today, from 5 years onwards, today onwards, in 5 years, that bond should not be converted. Assessee should not be transferred, and the assessee should not be availing any loan or advances, keeping security of that bond. Okay, these are the conditions. This condition has to be met, then only exemptions will be allowed. Okay, understood? Conditions you have understood? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if these conditions are complied with, what is the quantum of deduction? What quantum of exemption? Let us understand. How much will be exempted? Capital gain or amounts invested, whichever is lower. Suppose capital gain is 5 lakh rupees, but investment is only 4 lakh. 4 lakh amount will be exempt. Okay, but if investment is more than that, the entire capital gain will be exempt. The maximum investment which can be made in notified bonds of NEHAI and RECL out of capital gains arising from transfer of one or more assets during the previous year in which original assets transferred and in the subsequent financial year cannot exceed rupees 50 lakh. That means total amount of investment in the previous year and in the subsequent financial year cannot exceed rupees 50 lakh. Maximum money which can be invested in 6 months is 50 lakhs. Okay. So if money is invested in these bonds, then exemptions will be. And you know, the bond which are on which money is invested has to be held by the assessee for minimum period of 5 years. So in case assessee violates that condition, that means in case of any transfer of conversion of bonds or availment of loan by keeping that bond as security before expiry of 5 years, what will happen? The capital gain, which is exempted earlier, shall be taxed as long-term capital gain in the year of violation. So if the assessee violates this condition, then capital gain, which was exempted earlier, same capital gain will be taxed as a long-term capital gain. Okay, in the year of violation. So this point also assessee need to keep in his mind. Okay. So let me summarize what you have learned in this particular exemption. This particular exemption is allowed to any taxpayer. It may be company. It's not necessarily it should be individual or HGF. It may be unlike 54 B sections you have studied earlier. So it is applicable to all taxpayer. That should be long-term capital asset. That to land, building, or both. Money can be invested in NEHAI bond and REC bond. Maximum investment is 50 lakh rupees. And it should not be transferred. Sorry, it should be acquired within 6 months of the date of transfer. And should not be transferred within a period of 5 years. In case it is transferred within a period of 5 years, then the money which is exempted earlier shall be taken back. Exemption shall be taken back and it will be taxed as a long-term capital gain. This was about section 54 EC. Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now, there are certain differences between 54 and 54 EC, but both the sections you have covered. You can just have a look at this comparison. In case of 54, we know assessee may purchase within 1 year before or 2 years after or construct within 3 years after the date of transfer. But here under 54 EC, assessee has to make investment within 6 months from the date of transfer. Okay. And here you need capital gain needs to be invested. Capital gain or the cost of the new house, whichever is lower, has to be invested. Here also capital gain or the amount invested in bonds, whichever is lower, subject to maximum of 50 lakh, shall be exempted. Okay, so this is the comparison. Now there is a new provision, 54 EE. So let us quickly cover this section. Here the condition is that this particular exemption, 54 EE, is applicable also to all assets. Here, in case assessee has transferred one or more original asset, any original asset, that means asset which is newly acquired, if that is transferred and there is a capital gain, right? Then investment of that long-term capital gain is possible in the units of specified fund which are issued before 1/4/2019 of such fund as may be notified by central government in this pair. Okay, and these funds are to finance startups in India. So if this money is invested in that fund within 6 months from the date of transfer, and that too, the maximum amount of investment is limited to 50 lakh rupees. Right? In that case, the entire long-term capital gain or the amount invested in such bond, whichever is lower, shall be exempted. Okay. And here also, one more condition. The units which are acquired Units means units of the specified fund which are acquired should not be transferred for a period of 3 years. Okay, and in case it is transferred, the capital gain which is exempted earlier shall be taxed as long-term capital gain in the year of transfer. So this is a new provision, just you have to keep in the mind. This is applicable to all assets, any original asset, but money should be invested in units of specified funds within 6 months. Maximum amount is rupees 50 lakh. Okay, this is one more exemption. Keep it in mind. 54AA. Now, this is one more exemption. Next exemption is 54F. Right. This particular exemption is applicable to again only two category of assets. Okay, previous two I told you. You see, EE was applicable for any assessee, is it not? EE is for any assessee, which is for specified fund, and EC is also applicable for any taxpayer. But when you're coming to 54F, lastly we will be summarizing all this provision. 54F, it is applicable to two assessees, two category of person. Who are they? Can you read it out? Which assessees? As you see, individuals and HUA.
Individual and
HUA. And here the condition is that there must be transfer of long-term capital asset not being a residential house. If residential house was there, we have already seen section 54 takes care of that thing. But it is long-term capital asset not being a residential house, any other capital asset. Okay. Transfer of plot of land is also eligible for exemption, but not being a residential house. In that case, what will happen? The assessee should purchase one residential house situated in India within a period of 1 year before or 2 years after the date of transfer. That means some other asset is transferred, not a residential house. And assessee must have purchased one residential house in India either before 1 year or after 2 years from the date of transfer, or constructed one residential house in India within 3 years from date of transfer. In case of construction, 3 years time is allowed. In case of purchase, then it should be either 1 year before or 2 years after the date of transfer. So assessee should have done this. Okay, in case assessee for some reason is not being able to do it before the date of filing of the return, the money can be deposited in capital gain account scheme. Okay, if it is deposited in capital gain account scheme, that will be deemed to be the cost of the new asset. That means as if money has been invested. Okay, but here one more condition. Assessee should not own more than one residential house on the date of transfer. When the transfer has happened, when asset is transferred, assessee should not be owning any other residential house. Okay, that means this particular provision is allowed to those people who do not have any residential house. Okay, if they're transferring some other assets and buying a residential house, then this exemption they can have it. Okay, assessee should not be owning a residential house. And then one more condition: the assessee should not purchase any other residential house within a period of 2 years, or construct any other residential house within a period of 3 years from the date of transfer of original asset. That also he should not do. That means he has acquired one house, but he should not acquire more houses within a period of 2 years, or should not have constructed more houses within a period of 3 years. Did you understand these conditions? I repeat, it is applicable to all assessees. First of all, sorry, it is applicable to individual and HUA. Transfer must be long-term capital asset, not being a residential house. Assessee should have acquired a residential house within purchased residential house within a period of 1 year before or 2 years after the date of transfer, or constructed a house within a period of 3 years, or assessee can keep the money in capital gain account scheme. Assessee should not be owning more than one residential house on the date of transfer. Okay, and the assessee should not purchase any residential house within a period of 2 years, or should not construct and the residential house will be period 3 years from the date of transfer of the original asset. All these conditions should be complied with. Okay. Right. What is the quantum of exemption? Here, quantum of exemption you have to see if the cost of residential house is more than net sales consideration. That means here this section expects not the capital gain. The net sales consideration needs to be invested. If the cost of the new residential house is more than the net sales consideration, the entire capital gain is to be exempted. But if the cost of residential house is less than the net sales consideration, then only the proportionate amount of capital gain shall be exempted. Now, how to compute that proportion? It will be computed by using this formula: long-term capital gain into amount invested in new residential houses, this new residential house divided by net sales consideration. Okay, suppose net sales consideration is 10 lakh and amount invested is 5 lakh. That means only 50% of the long-term capital gain will be exempted. But if the entire consideration is invested, then entire long-term capital gain will be exempted. Did you understand? Yes or no? Are you getting me? Here, what is important?
Yes, sir.
What is important here is that this section requires not the capital gain, but the entire sales consideration needs to be invested. If the full sales consideration is invested, then entire capital gain is exempt. Suppose sales consideration is 2 lakh. Sorry, sales consideration is let us say 10 lakh. Net sales consideration 10 lakh. Capital gain might be 2 lakh rupees. But you need to invest the entire sales consideration of 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Then only entire capital gain will be exempt. Now, if these conditions are violated, then what is the condition? What are the consequences? First we'll see consequences where the assessee purchases any other residential house within a period of 2 years or construct any other residential house within a period of 3 years from the date of transfer of original asset. You know, that is one of the conditions that assessee should not purchase or should not construct a residential house. In case assessee does, then what will happen? The capital gain which is exempted earlier shall be deemed to be long-term capital gain and shall be taxable in the previous year in which such residential house is purchased or constructed. When you are purchasing or constructing a new house in that day, the capital gain which is exempted, that will be treated as long-term capital gain and shall be taxed. Okay, this is one violation. And in case assessee transfers that house within a period of 3 years, assessee should hold that house for 3 years. Okay, this is, you see, one more condition was there. If you see, okay, construct any, one more condition was there, assessee should not transfer. Yeah, this is one more condition, that new asset should not be transferred. But in this case, if the assessee transfers the new house within a period of 3 years from the date of purchase, then capital gain would arise on transfer of this new house, and the capital gain exempted earlier under section 54F would be taxable on long-term capital gains. This is, if this condition is violated, then these 2 points you have to keep it in mind. But when the new residential house is sold after 2 years, that means that will become a long-term capital gain. In case of houses, period is 24 months. So the assessee can avail the benefit of indexes. Okay. Okay. So in case new house is transferred within a period of 3 years from the date of its purchase, the capital gain would arise on transfer of new house, and the capital gain exempted earlier under section 54A should be taxable as long-term capital gain. Okay. If we summarize the provisions of section 54F, it is like this. It is allowed to individual and HGF. Okay. You see, this is allowed only individual and HGF. Okay. Then the capital gain arising from any long-term capital asset is qualified for exemption, provided on the date of transfer, taxpayer does not own more than one residential house property. If he is having only one residential house property, then only this exemption is possible. Okay. Which asset taxpayer should acquire? Only one residential house. That can be purchased 1 year before or within 2 years after the date of transfer, or construction is possible within 3 years. Okay, how much is exempted? Amount invested divided by net sales consideration into capital gain. In this proportion, it will be exempted. Exemption is taken back if the new house is transferred within 3 years of its acquisition. Okay, or if within 2 years from the date of transfer of the original asset, taxpayer buys another residential house, or within 3 years from the transfer of the original asset, the taxpayer completes construction of another residential house. These are the conditions. If the conditions are not complied with, these were the conditions. If they are not complied with, the exemptions is to be taken back. This was for F. Okay. So like this, friends, there are some other deductions are also. So keeping in view the contents of your syllabus, so these are not that important. Therefore, we will be skipping this thing. Just I am giving you some idea. You see, there is a deduction for transfer of assets in case of shifting industrial undertaking from urban area to rural area, 54G. Then transfer of assets in case shifting of industrial undertaking from urban area to special economic zone. Okay, these are the conditions. You can have a look at this. Then transfer of residential property. Right, this also you can see. Yeah, these are the, in fact, what I will do, I will now show you provisions in the income tax department's website, which contains all these deductions. Just give me a moment for that. Yeah, you're watching now. I'm going to income tax department's website. incometaxindia.gov.in. Let me show you all the 54 series. You can find a list of deductions. Oh, 1 second. Let me try. incometaxindia.gov.in. Server is busy now. Yeah, so it is taking some time. Yeah, Income Tax Act. You are watching. Today's server is quite busy, so it's not opening properly. Yeah, I could open Income Tax Act. So I want to take you to section 54 series. So I'm trying section 54. Server is really busy today. You see, are you watching here? These are the related sections. All important sections we have covered. Section 54 talks about profit and sale of property used for residence. Section 54A, relief of tax on capital gain in certain cases. 54B, capital gain and transfer of land used for agricultural purposes, not to be charged in certain cases. 54C, capital gain for transfer of jewelry held for personal use. 54D, capital gain for compulsory acquisition of the land. 54E, capital gain on transfer of capital asset not to be charged in certain cases. 54EA, long-term capital gain not to be charged in case of investment in specified securities. EB, capital gain transfer of long-term capital asset not to be charged in certain cases. EC, capital gain not to be charged in investment of certain bonds. ED, capital gain on transfer of listed securities not to be charged in certain cases. This is the page 1. Let me go to page 2 now. Some other related sections are there. EE we covered today. Capital gain not to be charged for investment in units of specified fund. For F, this also we covered. Capital gain in certain capital assets not to be charged in case of investment in residential house. 54G, I just showed you, I didn't cover it. Exemption of capital gain on transfer of asset in case of shifting industrial undertaking to from urban area. GA is for shifting on industrial undertaking to special economic zone. GB is capital gain on transfer of residential property not to be charged in certain cases. And 54H is extension of time for acquiring new asset and depositing or investing amounts in capital gain. This is what I showed you, list of some related sections. Few more things are also there in the capital gain. Of course, for your syllabus, they are not relevant. That means in certain cases, the matter needs to be referred to valuation officer. That is one more concept. Like this, few more petty things are there. We purposefully we didn't cover. But whatever we have covered, so broadly, we can do some kind of tax planning with by using these provisions. So far as income under the head capital gain is concerned. Okay. Is it clear up to this? Do you have any query?
No, sir.
Okay. So no query so far, right?